California Commercial Driver Handbook, Audio Edition, Section 2, 2.2. Why listen? The best way to learn. This is current as of May 2017, read directly from the DMV website. I hope you enjoy. 2.2. Basic control of your vehicle. To drive a vehicle safely, you must be able to control its speed and direction. Safe operation of a commercial vehicle requires skill in accelerating, steering, stopping, backing safely. Fasten your seatbelt when you're on the road. Apply the parking brake when you leave your vehicle. Let's talk about accelerating. Do not roll back when you start. You may hit someone behind you. If you have a manual transmission vehicle, partly engage the clutch before taking your right foot off the brake. Put on the parking brake whenever necessary to keep from rolling back. Release the parking brake only when you have applied enough engine power to keep from rolling back. On a tractor-trailer equipped with a trailer brake hand valve, the hand valve can be applied to keep from rolling back. Speed up smoothly and gradually so the vehicle does not jerk. Rough acceleration can cause mechanical damage. When pulling a trailer, rough acceleration can damage the coupling. When starting a bus on a level surface with good traction, there is often no need for the parking brake. Speed up very gradually when traction is poor, as in rain or snow. If you use too much power, the drive wheels may spin. You could lose control. If the drive wheels begin to spin, take your foot off the accelerator. Let's talk about steering. Hold the steering wheel firmly with both hands. Your hands should be on opposite sides of the wheel. If you hit a curb or a pothole, the wheel could pull away from your hands unless you have a firm grip. Let's talk about stopping. Push the brake pedal down gradually. The amount of brake pressure you need to stop the vehicle will depend on the speed of the vehicle and how quickly you need to stop. Control the pressure so the vehicle comes to a smooth, safe stop. If you have a manual transmission, push the clutch in when the engine is close to idle. Let's talk about backing safely. Because you cannot see everything behind your vehicle, backing is always dangerous. Avoid backing whenever you can. When you park, try to park so you will be able to pull forward when you leave. When you have to back, here are a few simple safety rules. Start in the proper position, look at your path, use the mirrors on both sides, and back slowly. Back and turn towards the driver's side whenever possible. Use a helper whenever possible. These rules are discussed below. Now, how to start in the proper position while backing. Put the vehicle in the best position to allow you to back safely. This position will depend on type of backing that needs to be done. Look at your path. Look at your line of travel before you begin. Get out and walk around the vehicle is always helpful. Check your clearance on both sides, overhead, in and near path of your vehicle, and the path that it will take. Use mirrors on both sides. Check the outside mirrors on both sides frequently. Get out of the vehicle and check your path if you are unsure. And back slowly. Always back as slowly as possible. Use the lowest reverse gear. That way you can more easily correct the steering errors. You also can stop quickly if you need to. Back and turn towards the driver's side. Back towards the driver's side so you can see better looking out your window. Backing toward the right side is very dangerous because you cannot see as well. If you back and turn towards the driver's side, you can watch the rear of your vehicle by looking out the side window. Use driver's side backing, even if it means going around the block to put your vehicle in this position. The added safety is worth it. And use a helper. Use a helper when you can. There are blind spots you cannot see. That's why a helper is important. The helper should stand near the back of your vehicle where you can see the helper. Before you begin backing, work out a set of hand signals that you both understand. Agree on a signal for stop. Backing a trailer. When backing a car, straight truck, or bus, turn the steering wheel towards the direction you want to go. But when backing a trailer, turn the steering wheel in the opposite direction. Once the trailer starts to turn, you must turn the wheel the other way to follow the trailer. Whenever you back with a trailer, try to position your vehicle so you can back in a straight line. If you must back on a curved path, back toward the driver's side so you can see. Back slowly so you can make corrections before you get too far off course. Correct drift immediately. As soon as you see the trailer going off proper path, correct it by turning the steering wheel in the direction of the drift. Pull forward. When backing, make pull-ups to reposition your vehicle when needed. Shifting gears. Correct shifting of gears is important. You cannot get your vehicle into the right gear while driving, you will have less control. Manual transmissions. A basic method for shifting up. Most heavy vehicles with manual transmission require double clutching to change gears. This is the basic method. Release the accelerator, push in the clutch, and shift to neutral at the same time. Release the clutch. Let the engine and gears slow down to revolutions per minute required for the next gear. Push in the clutch and shift to the higher gear at the same time. Release the clutch and press the accelerator at the same time. Shifting gears, usually double clutching, requires practice. If you remain too long in neutral, you may have difficulty putting the vehicle into the next gear. If so, do not try to force it. Return to neutral, release the clutch, increase the engine speed to match the road speed, and try again. Knowing when to shift up. There are two ways of knowing when to shift. Use engine speed. Study the driver's manual for your vehicle and learn the operating RPM range. Watch your tachometer and shift up when your engine reaches the top of the range. Some newer vehicles use progressive shifting. The RPM at which you shift becomes higher as you move up the gears. Find out what's right for your vehicle to operate in the owner manual. The other way is to use road speed, or miles per hour. Learn what speeds each gear is good for. Then, by using the speedometer, you will know when to shift up. Either method you may learn to use your engine sounds to know when to shift. Basic procedures for shifting down. Release the accelerator, push in the clutch, and shift to neutral at the same time. Release the clutch. Press the accelerator and increase the engine and gear speed to RPMs required for the lower gear. Push in the clutch and switch to the lower gear at the same time. Release the clutch and press the accelerator at the same time. Downshifting, like upshifting, requires when to know to shift. Use either the tachometer or the speedometer and downshift to the right RPM or road speed. Special conditions where you should downshift are before starting down a hill, before entering a curve. Before starting down a hill, slow down, shift down to a speed that you can control without using brakes hard. Otherwise, the brakes can overheat and lose your braking power. Downshift before starting down the hill. Make sure you are in a low enough gear, usually lower than the gear required to climb the same hill. Now, before entering a curve, slow down to a safe speed and downshift to the right gear before entering the curve. This lets you use some power through the curve to help the vehicle be more stable while turning. It also allows you to speed up as soon as you are out of the curve. Multi-speed rear axles and auxiliary transmissions. Multi-speed rear axles and auxiliary transmissions are used in many vehicles to provide extra gears. You usually control them by a selector knob or switch on the gear shift lever of the main transmission. There are many different shift patterns. Learn the right way to shift gears in the vehicle you will drive. Automatic transmissions. Some vehicles have automatic transmissions. You can select a low range to get greater engine braking when going down grades. The lower ranges prevent the transmission from shifting up beyond the selected gears, unless the governor RPM is exceeded. It is very important to use the braking effect when going down grades. Retarders. Some vehicles have retarders. Retarders help slow a vehicle, reducing the need for you to use the brakes. They reduce brake wear and give you another way to slow down. There are 4 basic types of retarders: exhaust, engine, hydraulic, and electric. All retarders can be turned on or off by the driver. On some vehicles, the retarding power can be adjusted. When turned on, retarders apply their braking power to the driver wheels only. Whenever you let up on the accelerator pedal all the way down. Now, because these devices can be noisy, be sure you know where their use is permitted. Now caution, when your drive wheels have poor traction, the retarder may cause them to skid. Therefore, you should turn the retarder off whenever the road is wet, icy, or snow-covered. It's time to test your knowledge. I'll read some questions. You should have the answer in your mind right away. If not, re-listen to this last section. Question number 1. Why should you back towards the driver's side? Number 2. If stopped on a hill, how can you start moving without rolling backwards? When backing, why is it important to use a helper? What is the most important hand signal that you and your helper should agree on? What are the 2 special conditions where you should downshift? When should you downshift automatic transmissions? Retarders keep you from skidding when the road is slippery. Is this true or false? What are the 2 ways to know when to shift? Now these questions may be on the test. If you cannot answer them, re-listen to this section. 2.4. Seeing. To be a safe driver, you need to know what's going on all around your vehicle. Not looking properly is a major cause of accidents. Look ahead. All drivers look ahead, but many do not look far enough ahead. Importance of looking far enough ahead, because stopping or changing lanes can take a lot of distance. Knowing what the traffic is doing on all sides of you is very important. You need to look well ahead to make sure you have room to make these moves safely. Now, how far ahead should you look? Most good drivers look at least 12 to 15 seconds ahead. That means looking ahead the distance you will travel in 12 to 15 seconds. At lower speeds, that's about 1 block. At highway speeds, it's about 1/4 of a mile. If you are not looking that far ahead, you may have to stop quickly or make quick lane changes. So look 12 to 15 seconds ahead. This does not mean that you're not paying attention to things that are closer. Good drivers shift their attention back and forth, near and far. See this figure to see how far ahead to look. Look for traffic. Look for vehicles coming into the highway, into your lane or turning. Watch for brake lights from slowing vehicles. By seeing things far enough ahead, you can change your speed or change lanes if necessary to avoid a problem. If a traffic light has been green for a long time, it will probably change before you get there. Start slowing down and be ready to stop. Now the road conditions. Look for hills and curves, anything for which you will have to slow down or change lanes. Pay attention to traffic signals and signs. Traffic signs may alert you to road conditions where you may have to change your speed. Seeing to the sides and the rear. It's important to know what's going on behind you and to the side of you. Check your mirrors regularly. Check more often in special situations. Every California registered motor vehicle must have at least 2 mirrors, including one attached to the left-hand side and located to give a clear view of the road to the rear for a distance of at least 200 feet. Both left and right-hand rear view mirrors are required on a motor vehicle which is constructed or loaded to obscure the driver's view to the rear, or which is towing a vehicle or load which blocks a view. Mirror adjustment. Mirror adjustment should be checked prior to the start of any trip and can only be checked accurately when the trailers are straight. You should check and adjust each mirror to show some part of the vehicle. This will give you a reference point for judging the position of other images. Regular checks. You need to make regular checks of your mirrors to be aware of traffic and to check your vehicle. And the traffic. Check your mirrors for vehicles on either side and in back of you. In an emergency, you may need to know whether you are to make a quick lane change. Use your mirrors to spot overtaking vehicles. These are blind spots that your mirrors cannot show you. Check your mirrors regularly to know where other vehicles are around you and to see if they move into your blind spot. Check your vehicle. Use the mirrors to keep an eye on your tires. It is one way to spot a tire fire. If you are carrying open cargo, you can use the mirrors to check and look for loose straps, ropes, or chains. Watch for a flapping or balloon tarp. Special situations. Special situations require more than regular mirror checks. These are lane changes, turns, merges, or tight maneuvers. In lane changes, you need to check your mirrors to make sure no one is alongside you or about to pass you. Check your mirrors before you change lanes to make sure there is enough room, after you have signaled to check that no one has moved into your blind spot, right after you start the lane change to double check your path is clear, and after you complete the lane change. Turns. In turns, check your mirrors to make sure the rear of your vehicle will not hit anything. And merges. When merging, use your mirrors to make sure the gap of traffic is large enough for you to enter safely. And in tight maneuvers. Anytime you are driving in close quarters, check your mirrors often. Make sure you have enough clearance. How to use your mirrors. Use mirrors correctly by checking them quickly and understanding what you see. When using your mirrors while driving on the road, check them quickly. Look back and forth between the mirrors and the road ahead. Do not focus on the mirrors for too long, otherwise you will travel quite a distance without knowing what is happening ahead. Many large vehicles have curved or convex fisheye spot or bug-eye mirrors that show a wider area than flat mirrors. This is often helpful, but everything appears smaller in a convex mirror than it would if you were looking directly at it. Things also seem farther away than they really are. It is important to realize this and allow for it. Figure 2.7 shows the field of vision using a convex mirror. Go ahead and look at the figure on the screen right here to see the different mirrors and field of view. 2.5 Communicating. Signal your intentions. Other drivers cannot know what you're going to do until you tell them. Signaling what you intend to do is important for safety. Here are some general rules for signaling. Turns. There are 3 good rules for using turn signals. Signal early, signal continuously, cancel your signal. Signal early. Signal well before you turn. It is the best way to keep others from trying to pass you. Signal continuously. You need both hands on the wheel to turn safely. Do not cancel the signal until you have completed the turn. Cancel your signal. Do not forget to turn off your turn signal after you've turned. Lane changes. Put your turn signal on before you change lanes. Change lanes slowly and smoothly. That way a driver you did not see may have a chance to honk his horn or avoid your vehicle. Slowing down. Warn drivers behind you when you see you will need to slow down. A few light taps on the brake pedal enough to flash the brake lights should warn following drivers. Use the 4-way emergency flashers for times when you are driving very slowly or are stopped. Warn other drivers if any of the following situations. Warn other drivers if there's trouble ahead, tight turns, stopping on the road, or driving slowly. Trouble ahead. The size of your vehicle may make it hard for drivers behind you to see hazards ahead of you. If you see a hazard that will require slowing down, warn the drivers behind you by flashing your brake lights. Tight turns. Most car drivers do not know how slow you have to go to make a tight turn in a large vehicle. Give drivers behind you a warning by braking early, slowly, and gradually. Stopping on the road. Truck and bus drivers sometimes stop on the roadway to unload cargo or passengers or to stop at a railroad crossing. Warn following drivers by flashing your brakes lights. Do not stop suddenly. Driving slowly. Drivers often do not realize how fast they catch up to a slow-moving vehicle. If you must drive slowly, alert followers that are following you by turning on your emergency flashers if it is legal. Check your local laws. Now, do not direct traffic. Some drivers try to help out others by signaling when it is safe to pass. You should not do this. It could cause an accident. You could be blamed, and it could cost you many thousands of dollars. Other drivers may not notice your vehicle even when it is in plain sight. To help prevent accidents, let them know you are there. When passing. Whenever you are about to pass a vehicle, pedestrian, or bicyclist, assume they do not see you. They could suddenly move in front of you. When it is legal, tap the horn lightly, or at night, flash your lights from low beam to high beam and back, and drive carefully enough to avoid an accident, even if they do not see or hear you. When it is hard to see, at dusk or dawn or in rain or snow, you need to make yourself easy to see. If you're having trouble seeing other vehicles, other drivers are having trouble seeing you. Turn on your lights, use the headlights, not just the identification or clearance lights. Use the low beams. High beams can bother people at daytime as well as at night. When parked at the side of the road, when you pull off the road and stop, be sure to turn on the four-way emergency flashers. This is important at night. Do not trust the taillights to give warning. Drivers have crashed into rear of a parked vehicle because they thought it was moving as normal. Now, this is important. If you must stop on a one-way or divided highway, so that's a one-way highway or a highway that has a median that's divided, these are where you need to place your warning devices, the three triangles, okay, at 10 feet, 100 feet, and 200 feet. So the first triangle you place at 10 feet. Then you go 100 feet farther behind you, you place another one. Then you go another 100 feet and place another one. So it's 10, 100, and 200. Look at this figure here to see. So you put the first triangle 10 feet behind you. Then you go 100 feet behind you and you put another one. Then you go another 100 feet, so 200 feet, and put another one. So 10, 100, and 200. Now if you stop on a two-lane road carrying traffic in both directions, or on an undivided highway, place warning devices within 10 feet of the front or rear corners to mark the location of the vehicle, and 100 feet behind and ahead of you on the shoulder or in the lane you stopped in. Okay, so if there's traffic coming towards you also while you're pulled over on the side of the road, you got to warn them by putting a triangle in front of them. So what you do, you put a triangle 100 feet in front of you. Then when you go behind you, you put one at 10 feet and 100 feet. So if you got traffic coming at you while you're pulled off, you put, just like you did in the other one, 10 feet, then 100 feet. But you take the third triangle and you put it in front of you, 100 feet in front of you. Okay, remember that. Now, back beyond any hill, curve, or other obstruction that prevents other drivers from seeing the vehicle within 500 feet, if line of sight view is obstructed due to a hill or a curve, move the rearmost triangle to a point back down the road so warning is provided. Okay, so if you're pulled over on the side of the road and vehicles that are coming up behind you can't see you because there's a turn and you're on the other side of the turn, or there's a hill and you're on the other side of the hill, they can't see you to the last minute, you need to provide them with some warning. So what you do, you take your one triangle and you put that 10 feet behind the car, then you take another triangle and you go put it where they can see it, as long as it's within 500 feet of your truck. So if you're on the other side of a hill, you put one triangle at 10 feet, then you back up and put it on the other side of the hill so they can see you. But it's got to be within 500 feet of the vehicle. Go ahead and look at the illustration on the screen right here. When putting out the triangles, hold them between yourself and the oncoming vehicle for your own safety. Use your horn when needed. Your horn can let others know you are there. It can help you to avoid an accident. Use your horn when needed. However, it can startle others and could be dangerous when used unnecessarily. We have now completed Section 2.5. In the next video, we'll be going through Section 2.6 and beyond. Thank you so much for listening.